Welcome to episode 87 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stephen Loeffler at Junkwax Twins.
Oh, hi.
With a camera now. He's back. We can see him. Missed that
It's only
face.
been like 50 episodes.
Yeah. And we also have Ben Wilson at our trading cards. I'm Tim Shepler, Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube.
10 Central.
Periscope and Facebook Live. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. Check us out on as a podcast, really everywhere. We love iTunes reviews as well. Check out our website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. Guys, we're going to get into it. We have a special guest, Denver Broncos Pro Bowler, Casey Kreiter. Kreiter is here. Casey, what's up, bud? How are we doing tonight?
I'm great. Happy to be here, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you for coming on. We ended up hooking up like last week or so. That was before the show last week. On Twitter, you can follow him at Casey Kreiter on Twitter. And we saw you were asking questions about, I think it was 2020 Topps and the missing foil for the Topps logo, and I was like, dude, this guy's in the NFL. He collects. Like, this is somebody we got to get on. Let's reach out and just see what happens, right? You said, hey, let's do it. So it's awesome. You're Pro Bowl long snapper. You were 42, which is I love the number. It looks great. Numbers have to look pretty, and that's a good looking one. You are a graduate of the University of Iowa, and you also like went into teaching before you went into the NFL. You spent a couple years like in training camp with I think it was the Cowboys, and then you started doing student teaching, and then it came up like I either have to take this teaching job or I have to go play. I might get a chance to go play football. So kind of what happened there? What was that like?
I mean, everyone's journey to the NFL is wild. And mine's no different. So. Yeah, I was with the Cowboys twice, got cut, was kind of heading into getting married, and, my wife and I wanted to start a family, so I said I should probably hang this up, talk to my agent. He said, listen, I don't know if it's ever going to happen again. In that last preseason, I didn't play very well, so I thought I was done, finished my student teaching, and I actually accepted a full-time teaching job the day before my workout here in Denver. Ended up getting signed. I think there were like 12 snappers total working out. They signed me out of the 12, and that entire first off season, I would work out, train, go back to the hotel they put me in, and I would lesson plan for the upcoming year in case I didn't make the team. And then the principal called me kind of about halfway through training camp and was like, how's it going? I said, I think I'm going to make this team. And he said, all right, well, we got another guy we're ready to hire. Can you send your resignation email? And I said, yeah, no problem. And then it's worked out. I've been here for 4 years, and it's been crazy. And, I see the Minnesota shirt. I actually grew up a Minnesota Golden Gopher fan.
Nice.
And when I reached out for them to recruit me, they didn't wanted nothing to do with me. So I quickly switched allegiance to the Hawkeyes, and I'll bleed black and gold forever.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of our really good friends, John, he's a huge Hawkeye fan. And so whenever he talks about the Hawkeyes, I always send back like a GIF or a photo of the Cyclones and go, yeah, this is your team, right? just to jab him a little bit. I'm a KU guy, and so it's always fun when you can jab another Midwestern fan like that.
Yeah, we call them the Cyclones. So.
Oh, there we go. So what's it like to be a long snapper in the NFL?
There's a lot of pressure to it. I always tell people I can't win football games for us, but I can lose them. Definitely with a batch punch snap that leads to a score or messing up a game winner. And, eventually along the way you get used to that part of the game. And, now I just go out on the field and I'm honestly having fun. I've been around long enough that I know most of the guys on special teams, the veterans. So you go out and then, they're asking me what's up. I'm asking them what's up. This is before a snap and there's some trash talking along the way. But the thing that I'm constantly humbled by is the people that I compete against. I remember my first year in the NFL, the Texans started doing this thing where they would keep their front seven on punt rush. So I get lined up and I look to my right and I said, oh, what? That's J.J. Watt right there. Oh. I looked to my left and I said, God, please send me left. And I looked to the left and I said, oh, well, that's Jadeveon Clowney there. And it was kind of like, all right, well, let's just hold on long enough. And, now that I've been in for a while, you expect to see big names like that, and you just compete your best, and you go home happy, and hopefully you go home confident you're not going to lose your job.
Yeah, I remember my buddy played at UOP. They were a small school here. They don't have football anymore. But they played Nebraska in the early '90s when they won national championships. And he was on the kickoff, or he's on the punt return team, and he got smacked pretty hard by one of the big Nebraska guys. And they just stood over him, and they just said, "You stay there, boy." And he's like, and my friend was 6'4", 225, just this solid rock of a man. He just said, "Yeah, he just laid there because this guy was huge." He goes, "I felt like I was playing with giants."
Yeah,
And I can only imagine like looking over and there's Watt and Clowney, and you're just like, okay, well,
it's wild, man.
well, we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, I never, in college, playing in the Big Ten, you played against guys who were, superior athletes to me. But the jump from college to the NFL is crazy, and especially when you talk special teams. A lot of times in college, it's second or third stringers who just want to play, be a starter, so maybe they're not giving it their hardest. There's guys in the NFL who make millions of dollars just to block kicks, and you're getting every bit of them every single time, and the speed difference is up there, and I'll never forget that moment when I got hit the first time in the NFL. I don't wear a mouthpiece, but I strongly considered starting to wear one after that. A few chip teeth later, I still don't wear one, though.
Yeah. Well, that is crazy. So you're in the NFL, and that also involves a big game called Madden, right? We kind of talked about this pre-show, and so what's that like to be in a video game? Everybody grows up playing, and you said you did. So what's that like? Tell everybody kind of like.
It's wild. I remember my first year in Dallas. There's a first year they were doing head scans, and you sat in this little machine, and the camera went around your head, and it was like, we're gonna put your actual face in computer form. It's almost like CGI. And I didn't get in that game. The next year comes, I didn't get in there, and I didn't think I was gonna obviously make it into Madden. And then I make the team, and I'm walking out of the facility one day, and they just got boxes and boxes of the Madden game. They ask you, "Hey, do you want one?" So I got one, and I took it home, and I instantly booted it up, and looked at my profile, and it was surreal. Like I said, I spent hours and hours with my buddies simulating Madden seasons, picking a team. Let's see whose team does the best, and to finally get in the game was crazy. And then you see people reaching out, on Twitter or when I'm back home. Hey, I got you on my all Madden team, or the one like the fantasy teams they do in Madden. And I'm like, I don't know why you have me on your roster still. I know I'm like a 42 in the game, so just get me off your roster. I appreciate it, but like, if you want to win, take me off.
You can go and edit the player and like,
Yeah, but the biggest, the coolest moment I've had in terms of the video game was when we played in the Hall of Fame game this year. Part of the Hall of Fame area was kind of the EA Sports section, and they had the new Madden pulled up, but you could only play with the Pro Bowl rosters. Well, I walked by and I said, "Wait a second! I went to the Pro Bowl last year, so let's see if I'm on it." So I had the guys pause the game and go, and sure enough, I was sitting on the Pro Bowl roster in Madden, 2020, at the Hall of Fame, which is like crazy, and that was like probably, other than getting married and having kids, a top 5 moment of my life.
That's amazing. How did you find out you were selected to the Pro Bowl?
I actually was leaving a workout, and one of the front office guys pulled up in his car and kind of rolled down his window and he said, "Hey, come over here." And I thought, oh, well, this is either really bad or this could be good. And he said, "Hey, I got a call from the NFL." I was like, "Okay, this is sounding really bad." And he goes, "You've been selected to the Pro Bowl. Do you want to go?" I said, "Yeah, I want to go." I said, "Yeah, we're good." He's like, "I thought you did. I already told him yes." So, you'll get a call. And it was crazy. This was the first year that the snappers were voted on. When I got in last year, it was the coaches' pick. So the coaching staff of the AFC team picks their snapper, which is a really cool way to get in because you have high-level coaches saying, "Hey, we think you're worthy of this." So I had like a week to pack, get everything planned, and do that. Now it's you get a little more time. But just a crazy event. I think they probably need to change the game a little bit when you see the NBA All-Star game and how that was run, and that was competitive and exciting. The NFL Pro Bowl game isn't that quite yet. But as a player, you're just hanging out with the best football players in the world and their families. You go to practice for an hour a day, and then you go hang out at the hotel with them and their families, and it's honestly a vacation.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I was thinking while you were talking on Madden, and I had mentioned pre-show. It's one. it's one of my yearly tweets to see, hey, when are you guys going to actually add the long snapper instead of just some no-name whatnot placement thing? And everyone always gave me crap for it, but at the same time, the only NFL player who shares my last name had was a long snapper for the Vikings.
Really? That's crazy.
2004 to 2014, Colin Loeffler.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
just before your time, but
He
he actually
one
has
year
a
too
card.
long. I needed
So
him
it's
to
kind of cool.
retire because that was the year I came out. If he would have retired, that would have opened up a spot. Maybe I ended up in Minnesota.
See,
Might have been nice, right?
yeah. What-
But yeah, to be able to see the players now, all the players represented in the game, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, if they do add the position, though, I may be a little salty if they start grading us and I get graded worse than players. At least now, when it's not an official position, I can just claim that they're ignorant.
yeah.
Of course. Well, and to that point, there's a special that the NHL 20 team did. They brought in some guy from a small Canadian hockey team, low level. I think he was like rated 72 or something like that. And they had the podcast guys actually do a skills competition. Yeah, he did laps all the way around them. But it's one of the things you take for granted. It's like, well, I'm only 62 in the game, but you're still better than half the world. So
Right.
Oh yeah. The small percentage of NFL guys that are guys in the NFL, and then guys that can long snap. Like I was in high school and in college, and I played line, and they'd always have us try out to long snap. And in high school, our long snapper was our tailback because he was the one that could spin that ball and get it back there as quick as because it is a. No, I couldn't play center because I like court. I could block you all day long, but snapping that ball back, getting that back there, I didn't need to. I didn't need to touch the ball that way. So you went to Iowa. What? In, you're playing the Big Ten. I mean, you have Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, Penn State. Minnesota's up and coming. What was it like to play in the Big Ten, and what was your favorite college moment out on the field?
Man, it was surreal. I remember as I got older, and got used to the travel schedule and kind of the routines you get into. I would always take a moment when we played at an away game and kind of soak it in, right? And I'll never forget standing on the 50-yard line when we played in the big house at Michigan and just kind of thinking, like, this is one of the most historic stadiums in football. And I'm a small town kid from Iowa. There's more gas stations in my hometown than stoplights, and I'm playing in the big house. And then I'll never forget, turning around and looking at the 3 stories at Penn State, how big that place was. The only regret I have is I never got to play at Wisconsin. So I've never experienced jump around on the field. But, it was surreal. Like I said, I'm living the dream, and I'll never forget that. I'm not far enough out from teaching where, I forget what that was like, back when my now wife and I were struggling paycheck to paycheck. I was substitute teaching or student teaching, and she was kind of carrying the burden, the financial burdens, and we were just trying to make a name for ourselves. And now to see where we're at, it's crazy. And then you look back at all the places I've been and the experiences I've had. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your collecting history. Like, when did it start? What was that like? Did you do as a kid, or is it now as more of an adult? Or
It probably started when I was in elementary school, middle school, and high school. I just remember my dad had it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles helmet box. They bought me a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles helmet, and then at some point my dad and my uncle put all their old baseball and football cards in there. But we always had a cigar box that was next to it that had kind of the cards we thought were worth a lot of money. And I was fortunate growing up. There was a little hole-in-the-wall card shop a couple blocks from where I lived. And I remember going down there with a couple bucks all the time and just trying to see what I could find. And, I was a big Cubs fan back then, so I'd find like a Mark Pryor rookie card or a Kerry Wood card, and I'd get it. This was probably the early 2000s, late 90s. And, I fell out of it. I don't know why. I'm sure I got into video games and sports. But when we were back home for the bye week this year, I kind of came across it was like a 1990 Topps complete set at an old antique store. So I got it, brought it home. My uncles and my cousins were coming over. We went through it, found a Chipper Jones rookie card. So whatever year that would have been, he was a rookie. Look it up.
91.
91, okay.
Yeah.
So we look it up, right? And I think the first thing that pops up is like, this card's worth a couple $1,000s. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, let's get your old cards out and go through them. We get the old cards out, start going through it. I bring them back home to research when I get back to Denver. Find out the card I was looking at was the Desert Shield Chipper Jones card
Very nice.
that I didn't have. That I had the card that was worth like 50 cents. And you know, that part of the hobby, getting back into it, has been humbling. Like, you know, hey, I think I got some really good stuff, and you look it up, it's from, you know, now I know that card's from 86 to maybe a little 87 to the early 90s.
Sure.
You know, the junk years, not worth much. But I've really fell in love with the hobby again. You know, within that box of stuff we found a couple 34 Gaudis.
Nice.
I have not. I've shown them to a couple people. The people I've shown them to have not said they look fake or anything, but they haven't been like officially looked at, and I don't have like confirmation. So I kind of keep that close to the vest. Now that your viewers know, I won't put who's on it exactly until it's been verified, because you know, I'm hesitant just because it's a 34, right? Like, that's an old card.
But
I love
we can always point you in the right direction to a few people that we would turn to if we had a question about authenticity, that you might be able to DM and get an opinion.
Yeah, perfect.
Because we all have those questions, right? When it comes to those, you just don't know the aged reprint process of soaking cards and putting tea and coffee on them to make them look aged is incredible. And there's nothing wrong with that if it's sold as an aged reprint. But you know, when you get a shoebox, you're not sure. It's good to have other sets. I mean, I bought a DeLong 33 DeLong Gehrig for $20 at a show as a reprint that looks awful clean and awful authentic, and I need to send it in for authentication just to know, is it a $20 card that I'm now in for $50?
Right.
Okay, or is it a card that would grade at a 1 or a 2 that's worth $1,500?
Right.
So if you need some unofficial advice, we definitely have some people that are much more adept at being able to spot, you know, any of the intricacies of what it might be.
For sure.
And actually, it's kind of funny because we covered this a few podcasts back, but sorry, I work with ComC in their identification process. So I see all of the cards throughout the day, and I see stuff from this to Junk Wax to 2019 Prism. Unofficially, one thing to look for, the reprint set in particular has reprint written right here.
Okay.
So that area in particular does not look like it's been scratched off or aged or has a stain. You're probably better off that it might be real.
Well, this is good. And you know what? Part of the fun of getting back into it is a few people I've told who are in the industry. You know, I live in Parker, Colorado, and the card shop I go to is Mike Stadium Sports Cards, and Mike is incredible. Mike is unreal. He's been awesome. He may have came over to the shop early a couple times before a road trip where I could grab a few boxes and rip them open on the airplane to a away game. And you know, there's actually a place south of me in Castle Rock. The guy, I can't remember the guy's name, but he deals strictly in more older stuff. But he doesn't have a shop. He just kind of does the online store. So the cool part is, like you said, you guys have connections, and you know, people I've told and talked to, they have connections, and you know, I'm to the point now where the whole grading process of card just seems completely alien to me. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I have a bunch of cards that I think are really cool. Like, if you follow my Twitter, you saw I pulled that Pete Alonso last night. Probably something I would look to get graded just because it's a cool card, and he's a young, cool player. But you know, there's a lot of people that are willing to help, and I think if you're interested in getting back into the hobby and you're hesitant, just go for it. Obviously, probably don't be like me and just buy everything in sight. Probably try and narrow down your focus.
Yeah, we've talked about in the past, because I think that's what Ben and I tried to do when we came back in. It was just kind of like, and then it took us a few years to actually come through and settle down on exactly how we wanted to collect and do that. We're gonna take a few questions here in just a sec. So guys, if you have them, shoot them in there. And here's the picture of the card that was pulled last night. It was from 2020 Series 1 Topps. It's the shoulder manufactured patch, a Pete Alonso autograph to 10. It was pretty amazing. So do you have a personal collection? Are there any players that you're looking to collect? Are you just kind of just grabbing stuff that catches your eye that looks good and having some fun with it?
Yeah, as I kind of go back through some of the stuff I opened right when I got back in, And I've picked up a few lots from people that are trying to sell in bulk, whether I find it on Facebook or I run into somebody. I honestly enjoy that. Like people who don't want their collections, or you go to a estate sale or a garage sale and they're just getting rid of their collections, or hey, there's a box of cards that I don't want anymore. Pick them up and just sort through it. Like that's kind of the I grew up in Iowa around where the American pickers were from, so it must be in the water. But I kind of think it would be cool. I just spent a bunch of time putting together a spreadsheet of all the Hall of Famers from basketball, baseball, and football. I think it would be cool to possibly have a card from everyone. Now, I know that's a lot of people, and I'm not trying to get authentic, Babe Ruth cards from when he was playing. If it's a maybe a 2020 insert that looks cool, I'll count that as my card. But right now, it's just having fun
That's
with
cool.
it. I've fell in love with a few products. Not in love, but the Bowman Chrome, I really like that product. I think it's a good looking product. Oh, that's a nice card there. Bowman Chrome,
Steph's
I
gonna
like the
get buried with
product.
Eddie
The
has a
prisms.
chance to get a chance to pull it out.
But football's obviously really cool for me to collect because I compete and I play with those guys. Like obviously Drew Lock caught fire there at the end of the football season, and I'm in a locker room with him every single day. So like, I could easily go ask him for an autograph on a rookie card I have for him just for my own collection, right? Because I know him and he would do it. A cool story is when I was buying some of those junkier products, I found a Steve Atwater rookie card. And Steve works in our facility as a kind of a social media guy and a social kind of football expert for our marketing people. So I brought it in. I said, Steve, can you sign it? And he signed it, and he puts the Super Bowls he won. And I said, when you get inducted to the Hall of Fame this year, I'm going to come back, and I need you to put HOF on it.
That's awesome.
And sure enough, he did. And I haven't been back to ask him for it yet, but I'm going to head over and have him kind of complete that.
That's awesome. Do any of your teammates collect?
I don't think any of my teammates did. Obviously, before I was here, Evan Mathis was a Bronco, and he was a big time collector, like a way bigger time collector than probably I'll ever be. I don't.
He's actually
wanna
bought a
spend
card
that
of
kind of
mine.
money. But I've been in touch with Phil Hughes, a professional athlete who collects now, which was funny. I don't know Phil other than people pointed me in his direction, and we've DM'd back and forth a few times. And then I tell people that I've DM'd with him, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like I've been trying to get a hold of him for years, and you've been collecting for 4 months, and you've already talked to him." So, being a professional athlete and collecting is cool because I have a unique platform where I can reach out and not only interact with other professional athletes who are interested, people like you who are experts in the hobby, and then I've had like 5 or 6 people from my hometown say, "Oh, I've been collecting for years." Cool to see someone else from the hometown collecting.
That's awesome. Now you don't. I looked and I didn't see that you have a rookie card. But if you did have a card that came out of yourself, how many of them would you try to own?
Oh man, I don't think I'll ever have one. We'd have to do some serious ground warfare with Panini to put me on a card. I think that, or I'd have to really push my agents to harass them about it. But if I had one, I'd probably get one, and just to have. But I've had people who send me letters and want my autograph, and they'll like mock up a card. They'll maybe find a picture of me off the internet and then screenshot it onto like what the current card looks like and ask me to sign it. And I always like doing it.
That's awesome.
My dad told me once when I first signed with the Cowboys, "Hey, I found a trading card. It's got to be real." I was like, "Listen, they don't just put you on a trading card because you're on a roster in the preseason. Like that's not how it works. That's fake. But if you want to get it. That'd be cool."
Well, Steph
But-
might know somebody at Panini,
Yeah.
and he lives right down the
In my
street.
backyard.
Like maybe we could have Steph go over there and just kind of needle him. And plus, the guy I know is a big Broncos fan.
Well, there we go.
So maybe we could work something out with Tracy Hackler over Panini to say,
Maybe
"Hey,
a
listen,
short print. Like the only
Yeah.
long snapper in there.
there we go."
There
That'd
you
be
go.
awesome.
It's-
And then it's a chase card. And it's a big deal.
Exactly.
And then everybody
Exactly.
wants it.
I do it
See, but
actually,
you-
too.
See,
Possibly
but
free.
you're a collector now, so it does change the dynamics a little bit to have that cross promotion where you're both a player, and yeah, Tracy's a big Bronco guy, so if we get in his ear, but now you're also a collector, so Panini can possibly use that and say, "Hey, we got one of us."
Yeah.
So maybe Steph can get on that and see what he can do with Tracy.
I
So
tell you what,
we have
I've
a-
never
we have a-
been a huge fan of social media. When I played at Iowa, we weren't allowed to have Twitter. So when I graduated, I got into it, and social media has been Twitter has been one of my favorite platforms because other than playing football, being a husband and a father, and then
What's that have to do with things, Steph?
just
They
all
can make
that.
an Iowa set.
I've been into college wrestling and got to know a lot of people in the inner circle of college wrestling, and now the card collecting is the same thing. Like that's what I love social media about. Like you said, all the connections you can make and just the fun you can have with it.
Well, plus you have that awesome check mark.
That
Right.
does help. I don't know where that came from. I don't have it on Instagram yet, and people still make fun of me. And I'm like, listen, I don't know how I got the one on Twitter. It just showed up one day.
Yeah, that's cool. So we have a couple questions in the chat. One, Amy Schroeder said that's awesome that she heard about teaching. She wants to know what subject area you're teaching.
I was a high school science teacher. I was certified in biology and chemistry, and I was actually teaching a nervous system lesson. We were going over parts of the brain when I got called for my workout in Denver. I'll never forget that lesson. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Rich Frank wants to know: have you ever done the trading jerseys after games?
I have. I've done it a couple times. I did it with Anthony Sherman this year, fullback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Good dude. Met him at the Pro Bowl. Him and his family had a lot of fun with him. And then Micah Hyde. He's the obviously Bills safety, former Packer. Good teammate at Iowa. He's scared to return punts when I'm snapping. I can tell you that. That's why he doesn't do it anymore.
There we go.
I always told him I'd get him, and he hasn't given me the chance yet.
Oh, Norm Booth on Periscope asked if you were ever going to have a signing day over at Mike Stadium cards.
I'd love to. I told Mike I'd be open to it. I don't want to say he's obviously not scared to ask me, but I think we've built a different relationship. So, if he wants me to, I'd love to stop by and do it. It's funny when I'm in the shop, more and more people are starting to figure out who I am. So like when he has his little card shows, I go in and I'll talk to people about this and that, and they're like, "Hey, are you a Bronco?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "Yeah." Word's been kind of going around with the people who are in here a lot, and I'm always on he does his single nights on Facebook, so I'm always in there trying to snag cards, and like I said, more and more people are figuring out who I am.
That's cool. Our buddy in Korea wants to know. He's also a teacher. He wants to know if you have a favorite baseball player.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. When I first got back into collecting this year, bought a couple blaster boxes at Target and pulled a 1/5 red refractor Chris Bryant. No.
Oh, very nice.
I think it was a Chris Bryant. It was a Bryant or a Rizzo, one of the two. Of course, it's like gambling when you make a lot of money right away. That was like the first thing I pulled out of the pack. I was like, all right, I got the luck. Let's just keep doing this. So that's probably my favorite card, just because it was one of the first I pulled once I got back into collecting as an adult.
Nice.
Very nice.
We always ask everybody that's on the show, and you've given us almost half hour here, and we really appreciate it tonight. If you could only own one card in the world, like you could have one card, one sports card, what card would it be and why?
Oh man. So I'll go with the big one I pulled that, like I said, I haven't had authenticated yet, but one of the Gaudis I pulled was a Lou Gehrig Gaudi, and I would go with that just because it was my dad and my uncle's before kind of I got it. So it has some sentimental value, and
That's awesome.
Obviously it's an incredible card to have. I just hope it comes out as authentic.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's my future brother-in-law. Troy's a huge Broncos fan, and so tonight I was going back and forth with him, and he wanted to come on. He doesn't really watch our show all that often, I don't think, but he was excited tonight until we were having a Bronco on here, and I always give him stuff. We made a bet at the beginning of the season. I'm a Colts fan. He's a Broncos fan. We have to buy each other dinner, whoever had the better record. And I started off like gangbusters. You guys had a little bit of a slow start, and then you made this comeback. Drew comes in. You guys start doing well, and we end up with the same record. So now we're just going to go to dinner together.
I was gonna say you should just split it. Well, you buy one and he buys the other.
That's right. So I think we're going to need to do that. But yeah, man, thank you, Casey, for coming on. Hanging out for 30 minutes tonight. Spend some time. If you ever have questions or need something, or hey, I need to find this,
Should do it our way.
Yeah, I mean, Steph works with one of the guys that's been in the hobby like before it started, and Rich Klein, and knows a few people. And if you've ever, he's good friends with a guy that started a magazine called Beckett. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually due to go on his podcast again shortly. I just need to shoot him an email.
So we have, Steph knows a lot of people. Ben and I pretend we know some folks, so we can help you out in any way you want. Shoot us a message. We're just a bunch of guys that like to handle cardboard and check out and talk about it every week. So
yeah,
we appreciate the time. And
Thank you for having me on, and anytime, guys. Like I said, this is a lot of fun. You guys are great. I've been following the podcast a little bit since I got back in, and keep killing it. You guys ever want me back on, just you know where to find me.
Awesome.
Hey.
All right, Casey, good. Hey, have a great off season. Get ready for next year, and I think big things for the Broncos. I mean, you got the Super Bowl champions, but they're celebrating, so they're not out there practicing and getting ready for the season. I think it's time for you guys. And the Raiders are going to be in Vegas, and we already know who the Raiders are. It's Vegas. Well, and then the LA Chargers don't have a quarter. They can't put it together. So this year, I think it's going to be back to the old days of the Broncos and the Chiefs. Be gunning it out for the title this year. So in the
I'm
West.
with
Nice
it.
to see.
I'm a free agent this year, so hopefully I'm high on the free agency list for the Broncos, and we can just continue.
There we go. Or somebody sees the podcast and goes, "That's a hell of a guy. Let's pay him. Let's bring him here and make him the highest paid long snapper in the NFL."
Absolutely, I love the sound of that.
All right, Casey. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Have a
Casey.
great evening and keep collecting, bud.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All righty.
Awesome.
Look at that. NFL Pro Bowler Casey Kreiter hanging out with the three of us, and then at one point he said we were experts, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Like, okay, so we fooled somebody that plays in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're doing there, but hey, real quick, I want to shout out. So it's the 87th episode, and I created a backdrop tonight for the best set ever, 87 Tops baseball. And
One
it's
thing
perfect
that we
because the McGuire's covered now. But if I get rid of real quick, I'm going to take Ben away. Boom, you can see George Brett there at the top, and McGuire. You got Kirby Puckett, Sandberg.
So one thing that we can all agree on is that is in fact the best set of trading cards, regardless of sport, ever produced.
And the best year to collect.
Dude, I'm telling you, you look back at the number of Hall of Famers in that set, and guys that should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
It's a big list.
well, and guys that had incredible potential. I mean, you're looking at Benito Santiago. There's one.
Ellis Burks.
Yeah, Gooden, Strawberry, Hershiser, Saberhagen, guys that when we were growing up collecting were surefire, quote unquote, Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah.
That
Corey
didn't
Snyder.
didn't quite turn out to be that. I mean, Don Mattingly,
Kirby Puckett.
He
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
should be in the Hall of Fame. Guys at the tail end of their careers, like
Pete Rose he had
Yeah.
2 cards, one as a manager and his last player card.
yeah.
He
Reggie
had
Jackson.
cards for 30 years, right? Because he was a rookie in 67 or 20 years.
Okay.
Like,
Speaking of which, can I tell a quick story that's card related? My dad does
I don't
an
know if
antique.
you can, but try.
I just wanted a couple moments. I swear to God that time travel exists, right? My dad's doing this parking lot sale at the antique store here locally this weekend, and he comes home and he goes, "I met you in the future." Little old guy comes over to look for some trading cards, and he's the world's largest Nolan Ryan collector west of the Mississippi. And he's asked my dad a question. He goes, "Who's the best outfielder out of Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and Roberto Clemente?" He goes, "The answer is Clemente." He goes, "I know by baseball." Apparently, he said he knows his baseball multiple times. He was an expert in everything he talked about, according to him. And my dad, he wouldn't let my dad get a word in edgewise. And my dad's like, "This guy is proof that," I forget what his name was now, but apparently I must have went into witness protection because of something stupid I said on Twitter. And I changed my name to this guy, and I became a Nolan Ryan super collector. And I came back to talk to my dad. And so, yeah, he's
it was
like,
alternate Ben. It was evil Ben.
he's like, "Do you want his number so you can call him?" And I'm like, "No, I really don't." I mean,
Was it good Ben or bad Ben?
Well, hold on. I think it was this.
Ben's one of those guys who definitely has a lot of dumb in him, but he's a good guy. It's a constant battle between good Ben and dumb Ben.
So that's
Dave.
Ben was on a local talk show and got roasted, and so now we have that as a clip forever. We can drop in whenever we want. Good Ben or dumb Ben.
he never let me talk. I mean, he just
perfect.
puts me on mute.
He did it the way we've all wanted to do it for years now.
He says in that spot too later, he's like, he called about the word clutch in a clutch conversation that we had. I was an invited guest. We talked for like 15 minutes, and he's like, at the end of that spot the other day, he's like, "I won the conversation." It's like, no, you didn't let me talk. It's like, of course you won.
Yeah, he won. So
anyway.
we're going to get to the week that was. Last week's release is Topps Living Week 102, the best week they've ever had. Card 287, Hall of Fame third baseman George Brett. Kansas City Royals sold 3,385 cards. I said he'd sell 3,300 or more, and then guess what? We had the 85 added on because that's the year they won the series. Outstanding job, George. Card 288, Mike Minor, pitcher of the Rangers, sold 1,961 cards. I only bought 10, so I did not push that number farther away. If I hadn't bought any, he still would have done well. I won the bet from Ben. So I'll be looking to collect my $5 shopping spree on March 14th. And I'm hoping to buy 5 McGuire second-year cards.
It was a little disappointing, though, because, I mean...
Oh, it is. It's a disappointing number. I'm very sad.
I mean, when a guy like George Brett, I mean, it's a gorgeous card. You know, the blue eyes, the blue hat, the blue background. I mean, it's just a good-looking card.
He's looking into my soul.
He is. He's got that look like, you know, those bedroom eyes for Tim and Tim alone.
He looks like Lee Majors.
When he's not breaking $5,000 kind of a thing, you know, you would expect a guy like him. And
well, the set's dead. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and our friend Matt, Topps Living Stat, had mentioned, you know, privately to me last week, he's like, hey, he's not one of the bigger Chase Hall of Famers, which is probably true when it comes to card collecting. But the thing is, you would hope that more people would get up for Ripken and Brett and certain players that have come along over the last couple of months. And, you know, when he's getting 3,300, that's just what that is.
It tells you where it is. We also had 2019 Panini Select Football and 1920 Upper Deck Series 2, which I'm very proud to say that I added 2 Young Guns this week. Actually, 3 Young Guns, the 3 big ones. I'm excited for that. Hot off the press is this week's new releases, Topps Living Week 103.
So real quick, I'm going to interject here. I found the actual... Go share it. Push the button. The actual conversation that Ben had about clutch being a lazy word and someone blocking you, and there's your original drive time conversation.
A couple checkmark guys just bashing on Ben. Topps Living Week 103, card 289, Yordan Alvarez, rookie outfielder of Houston Astros, and card 290, Carson Kelly, catcher, Arizona Diamondbacks, who's a pretty decent catcher and a cool looking card. I love the helmets and the face masks they're using with the catchers. But
the detail on the eye is pretty nice looking.
Oh yeah, and the little stubble going. Norm Booth here just rocking it tonight on Periscope says Yordan will sell more than 5,000. Yeah, I was looking back on this, and last year, like the top card of all time was Acuna, and he was like 46,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then the next were Gleyber Torres was 28,000. He was 3. Soto was a little over, a few cards more than him. He finished second with over 28,000. It's been a while though since we've had somebody hit 5 digits. The last card to do so was Trout at 200. Card 200, he was at 22,000, and he was number 5 all time so far. And then Vlad Guerrero, card 179, was almost 20,000, number 4 all time. But I mean, we're already on card 290, so we're talking. It's been 90 cards since we've had somebody break 5 digits, and even the most since then's been in the high threes. I think Ty Cobb was like 3,700. Was probably, I think, the highest one since then. Tony Gwynn was up there too. I lied. Austin Riley at 5,100. He was card 206. But as we see, as we get later in these 200s, it's really like 3,000's kind of been a hard number to hit. So, yep. Interesting. We'll see what happens this week. I'm glad that Brett had his, and I'm good for now until, I have to get excited about somebody else. 2020 Topps Heritage Baseball drops today. $89 a box, 24 packs per box, 9 cards per pack. You're going to get 1 autograph or mem card. We are actually doing post-show. We're going to give us about 10 minutes, but I'm going to have a box break of Heritage. You can watch live on all these channels. And we're going to start doing some more box breaks as the new product gets released. And if I have a box, I'll save it to do on Wednesday after the show. We're going to do some like rip and retail. Hey, we're going to steal from Chris Olds, I'm telling you right now, and get back. And when we open some retail stuff, getting on camera to do it. Steph and I hung out the other night, opened some 10s. those real expensive tins that Bernie Sanders down there on the bottom didn't want us to sell. I give Ben a hard time because on the hobby hotline this last week, he was, I don't know who was on. I'm like, this does not sound like the Benjamin Wilson that I know.
Because people are buying $15 tins and they're like $40 each, and it's like,
no, it wasn't worth it. But
there's
I'm
serious
telling
crap in there. I mean,
if you were to buy them without, say, take away the shipping, say shipping was free on them, I think a legit number on those are 20 to 25, just because of the chrome parallels in there. Those, because there's only one per, and that's a 100-card set. Those cards are going to be a $10 bill all day long. Anyway, that's another subject later on. I want to get into
long term or short term. Because short term,
Short-term.
I picked up two of them. I picked up the Hunter and the McGuire for $12 total.
Yeah, but they're A's. I mean,
Nah, they're pretty big names.
I know. So we'll get into it. We'll get into it later. We'll get into that. That's a whole other conversation. Heritage is a big release. We have a lot to talk about on it tonight. So it's a 500 card base set. The last 100 are SPs as always, with a lot of the stars in there.
Again.
The best thing that I like about Heritage, if you pop the share screen up, is that they try to match photos and errors and everything to the same number and the same players. So you got Gary Sanchez tagging out, who's that, JD Martino?
It's
Samuel Nunez. With Thurman Munson tagging out Ben's A's.
Yeah. So the last 100 are short prints. 1 in every 3 packs will have a short print in it. There are a few cards this year that have action shots that are not the short prints. Or, I'm sorry, the variations. So that's there for you. It's the 71 design, the black border, with the facsimile autos. So don't freak out that every card in your pack's autographed, because it's not.
And they told us at the Topps RIP event that the product is better produced, obviously, than in 1971, despite the homages. And they should hold up better despite the black.
Yeah, they look pretty good so far.
And as far as variations go, our friend Ryan Cracknell with Beckett Media.
We're gonna, I have the list here in a sec. So there's the dual player rookie cards. So it's gonna have 2 rookies from each team. The hobby packs have a few exclusive parallels versus buying at retail. They have the white border cards that aren't numbered, but supposedly they're going to be out of 50. And then there's also the flip stock cards, which are out of 5, and those are cards that are printed on the opposite side. So the fronts are more dull and textured, while the backs are more slick.
Yeah.
And then the 6 variations this year are the action image. They're 1 in every 27 packs, so almost 1 a box. There's the silver team name, and those are 1 in every 265 packs. So the team name will be in silver. There's the air cards. Those are 1 in every 8,013 packs. There's the silver ones there. There is the missing signatures. Those are 1 in every 2,009 packs, so they won't have the autograph. There's the nicknames. Those are 1 in every 2,414 packs, so they'll have a nickname. I think you had a Bryce Harper earlier that said Bam Bam. And then there's the throwback uniforms, where they're wearing a 71 version of the uniform, the current players. Those are only 1 in 11,511 packs. So good luck there. Don't worry about codes, because all the variations are labeled on the back side of the card, right above the picture. It'll say if it's an action or if it's a, whatever it needs to be.
So you don't need to be sitting at your monitor trying to do this.
Yeah.
There's
100 base cards that get chromed out this year. And then there's Hotbox exclusive parallels that are also randomly inserted in hobby boxes and retail blasters.
Usually retail, they're the purple packs. I don't know what color they're going with this year.
Yeah, they have in the past, and those are awesome because you get a purple chrome card in every pack. I hit that 1 year in 18, and it was the high number, so it was like I got Acuna, Otani, and Torres all in the same blaster box in purple, and they were awesome. Yeah, so there's like
mine was 2017, and I got this guy right here.
Nice.
Trap purple.
So 71 is one of my favorite sets of all time.
It's a nice set.
It's really hard to collect, though, in a really good condition because of the black borders.
Yep.
But it just stands out. It's cool. My 71 set's not pretty. It's almost completed, but it's not pretty. But I don't care. You also have some rookie variations where they're not doing an action shot. If you go back up, our buddy Aquino is swinging in his, but he also has a double rookie card with Yordan Alvarez, which that's a great rookie card right there. I mean, both those guys are good. Sorry, the Aquino's a throwback, but I know like Gavin Lux has one. He's not doing anything
confused
standing.
why it says AL and NL for the Astros and the Reds,
Because the Astros in the American League.
but for 1971.
Yeah, but we were talking about 2020.
It's current though. But no, just real quick, I was going to say on those variations in that list, he said it's mostly complete. The throwbacks are complete, so there aren't going to be any more throwbacks. So there might still be one or two more that he hasn't had. But look at that Vladimir Guerrero. He's got 5 variations. Dear cheese.
Yeah. Dear cheese. That's really good with some peanut butter.
Yeah. You don't need 5 variations. And I know Guerrero's uber collectible at the moment, but man, it would be frustrating as a Blue Jays fan. If I was to the Blue Jays as I am to the A's, to look at Guerrero and go, I can't afford that. I can't. That's assuming that they all even pop. I mean, I think one of them was the throwback, right? Those are generally out of 10. He doesn't have a throwback, so that's good, at least yet. Or I guess they're complete, so that's.
Well, and that's the thing too with Trout and Acuna Jr. being in the high series, being able to pull all 4 of those by purchase or whatnot, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and why is Trout a high? Why is he a short print in this? Like that is the dumbest thing.
Because it's stars. Yeah, it's
to
stupid.
Make it worth something.
It's stupid. I mean, I think last year was the first year that they did that with Heritage, where the last 100. All the short prints were going to be stars and rookies.
Good, yeah.
And it's like, why do I want cards 1 through 400? Nobody's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was frustrated this year because the 5 best A's on the checklist were all in the 400s. And I was like, are you serious? And then Tim's like, yeah, remember last year? And I'm like, I do remember last year now.
Yeah.
Like
that's my only complaint. And then too, like I can tell you previously, probably since 16, 17, 18, 19, the last couple of handful of years, the blasters are very identical. I bought 2 blasters back to back at Target one time, and half the packs were exactly the same. So it was a little tough, but when you're spending $20 in a hobby box, like 18, a hobby box of Heritage was like $150. This year it's about $100. But, back early, when I first came back, it was $75-$80 a box.
Well, and what's the purpose if we disconnect ourselves for just a moment from what we know the hobby to be at retail right now, where people are clearing shelves for flip value? What's the idea, the marketing value of a retail blaster is really for people that aren't in areas where they have local card shops to have access to these products. You're supposed to be able to buy some of this. If I want to buy 5 blasters, because I can't get my hands on a hobby or a jumbo, depending on the release, I should get 5 blasters that are fairly well collated to the point where I'd expect 70+% to be different. If I'm going after trying to buy a set, and build a set, I don't want 5 blasters that are exactly the same. You would think that they would do a better job blending those, because I mean, ultimately, that's, at least to me, that's what it would be for, right? For people that are looking to collect sets and inserts and whatnot.
This is, this and Flagship are probably 2 of the biggest set builder sets of all year long. I would
Along
say
with
Ginter, and then maybe Stadium Club, right?
Yep.
Those 4, but I mean, Flagship and Heritage really deeply are set builder sets.
Well, and Heritage and Ginter are the only 2 sets that I know of that are, have master set collectors.
Yes.
That are, Flagship, you don't really get master set collectors from start to finish that go up and down that checklist.
Ginter's,
I mean, there are guys that I've heard of, I don't know any specifically or personally, that will drop $30,000, their entire year's card budget on Ginter just to collect everything.
Yeah.
That entire checklist, start to finish.
Oh yeah, I know there's a guy in Sacramento that does that. I know he buys like 4 or 5 cases of Ginter.
Yeah.
Bust it, and then he has Ginter buddies, and they swap in between each other to do it. Like, and that's all he does all year long.
I don't know who that is, but yeah, I've heard about him, and it's frustrating. I mean, last year I think I bought Heritage was 2012, I believe. I bought 2 hobby boxes at one card shop, a third from a different card shop locally, and I had like 60% of the set, and my duplicate stack was almost as high as the other one. If not having pulled a real one auto of Willie McCovey, there would have been absolutely nothing at all. I mean, 2012 again is the last year I stopped because of that kind of crap, the collation and the fact that there's just no true value in there on a box by box basis.
No, yeah, and it's fun to open. I always try to open a box a year of Heritage when I can, and this year I did. I actually ended up with 4. I ended up with 6. One of my buddies picked up 2 from me. I'm sending out tomorrow. But I have 4, and I'm going to open at least 1. I don't know about the other ones. We'll see. But I already bought the set from Brent. Brent Williams. For, I don't know, $40 shipped. And then I bought my 2 team sets with the Royals of the Giants with the short prints and for a nice little bundle. And I'll have those. And so, I'm always been a fan of Heritage. It made me really get back into collecting into the 70s. So. Also this week, 2019-2020 Upper Deck SP Game Used Hockey finally drops. I think it came out today. $100 a box, 1 pack per box, 6 cards per pack. You're going to receive 1 premium autograph or mem card and then 3 additional autograph or mem cards per box. It's a 200 card base set. Outside of the relics, one of the defining features of SP Game Used has become the base cards. They're among the toughest in the hobby, each numbered to the player's jersey number. Authentic rookie parallels include a rainbow out of 200 plus their birth year.
I absolutely love these relics that they use
of the net, yeah.
The goalie net.
There's also the orange rainbows, which are 100 plus their draft year. The black rainbow is 5. The green snowstorm, 1 of 1s. And as been in the case for several years, the SP Game Used delves into several NHL special events for some of its memorabilia content. The net cord, stuff was shown from the 2019 All-Star Game, Stadium Series games, Winter Classics, and the Stanley Cup Finals. So if you're a Bruins fan, or even if you're a Blues fan who won, having a net card from that game would be amazing. Like the pinnacle, because the Blues, that was their first cup, right?
Think so.
And they've been around a while, and they got a good fan base. So that's a hell of a piece of memorabilia to own, and it's in a card. It's authenticated. You know what it is. You're going to have a player on there. That's pretty legit. They also have game-used pucks. They're really tough pulls, but these also 2 are from the finals, skills competition, the NHL 100 Classic, the Global Series, and the Winter Classic. And each of those cards are 1 in every 780 packs. So I guess you got a better chance of pulling one of those. A better chance of pulling one of those than with some of the stuff in Heritage, like the throwback uniforms, which are 1 in 11,000. So good luck there. Some more great stuff from Upper Deck Hockey. We gushed last week about the Young Guns and Series 2 because we're big nerds, and I'm excited about collecting Young Guns this year. I think it's going to be a fun little thing for me to do.
Actually,
yeah.
Check that out.
What are we looking at here?
Stadium Series, Sidney Crosby.
Oh, nice.
Goalie net.
That's pretty cool. Sid the Kid.
Decent enough. There was Zadina draft day jersey signed.
Nice.
Going well above.
Yeah, SP, we all know the 93 Jeter SP, right? That's what kind of started all of this, and this is game use stuff. That's pretty cool. Also, 2019 Panini One Football dropped $125 a box, 1 pack per box, 1 card per pack. Obviously, 1. It's a 1 on-card auto. There's 219 cards in the set. All are numbered in 199 or less. It's the second year for the product. It's an encased on-card auto. NFL. There's shield signatures, and they use the 100, the NFL 100 logo. The 2019 rookies will have that, and every one of those cards is a 1 of 1. Not only rookies, but they're also veteran and retired stars. There's the Daniel Jones 100 patch, and there's also 2 vets and retired stars that'll be in here with autographs and with men, big pieces, big patches,
one
and
for
autos.
Shep to chase down.
Yeah, he's expensive. So
Or what's his name that we met at the National? The huge Barry Sanders guy. I forget his name at the moment, but
yes, I blanking as well. I'm dying right now, but yes, he was the teacher that came up from was Arkansas.
Arkansas,
right?
yep.
Yeah, Ray Lewis, just a killer autograph there for Ray. So,
props.
Yeah. So make sure you check out Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for a lot of details on all these products.
As
Montana
always.
Payton in there as well. So take a look there. We'll hop into what's brewing next week's releases. 2019-2020 Upper Deck SPX Hockey. 2020 Panini Donruss Baseball. 2019 Panini Encased Football. And 1920 Upper Deck Hockey Credentials are all on the schedule for next week. We'll get into it. Infield chatter. Hobby Hotline this Saturday live on YouTube Periscope at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11
Who's
Eastern.
on?
Mike Summer from Wax Pack Hero Sports Card.
We know him.
Yep. We have Doug Caskey or Dan Anderson. I know one of the Mojo Break guys is going to hop on.
Cool.
I think maybe both. And then Drew Herndon, he's going to be on. Let me get the potograph. Drew and I are going to rotate shows every so often. So, and look at this. John took my idea, sold his canvas maker, and was able to purchase the capo and make your young guns. Guess what? I did the same thing. Makar. Whatever. I'll get it one day. Speaking of different names, Mason Sanders is the new Ron Mexico from The Athletic. I don't know if you heard this. So you remember,
I thought that was you.
Remember Ron Mexico? That was Michael Vick's alias.
Yeah.
And then they started selling. People started buying those NFL jerseys, the Atlanta Falcons #7 Mexico. And then they banned it anyway. Madison Bumgarner won over $26,000 in pro rodeo events this past December under the name of Mason Saunders. Way to go, Madison. He didn't have a contract at the time, right? So he didn't have to listen to any MLB team. He's out there in a pro rodeo winning cash. Like he probably makes that an inning.
Right.
He's out there risking his career. I guess after all this stuff with the Giants, he ends up at the Diamondbacks. I guess his career's over anyway, being a Diamondback. But
well, and the thing that I love best about all of that news breaking is that something's playing audio here. Hang on. Where's the button to do the thingy to show not that, but this. One, Baseball Reference updated it to say alter ego for Mason Saunders.
nice.
But in addition, if you go all the way down where that usually shows your yearly earnings and contracts, it also has its rodeo competition winnings now listed.
That is awesome.
That's fantastic.
There's a few minor league teams that are now doing
the San Jose
Mason
Giants.
Saunders night.
Yeah, the San Jose Giants.
yeah.
Saddle up, join us Friday, June 5th as we celebrate San Jose Giants alum Madison Bumgarner and his rodeo alias Mason Saunders, complete with jersey giveaways, roping promos, and special Turkey Mike's barbecue items.
And as they put it, this isn't their first rodeo.
That's awesome. I've been to a San Jose Giants game. Good place. The stadium has a lot of artwork, like paintings and murals of past just major baseball legends all over the stadium. It's a good spot. So check it out. Trainwreck alert at Jeremy Adam Ross on Twitter. He's also like a news reporter. Like this guy follows us and I guess listens to the podcast because he tagged us in this tweet. Let me pull up what he actually does. He's a reporter for CBS 2 in Chicago. So we're not talking some mid-market or some podunk hillbilly town. He's in Chicago. Tweets out, considering bidding on this.
There's anything wrong with podunk towns?
Well, I mean, but he's like a dude that's on the CBS News in Chicago follows it. I mean, that's pretty neat, right? Consider bidding on this. It might be the best worded auction I've ever seen honestly is refreshing. It's a Jim Brown rookie card, 1958 Topps Jimmy Brown number 62 rookie card. Absolute train wreck. I mean, this card's got the tape on it's like orange, and it has JBs all written on it. It's been ripped up, wrinkled, put in your pocket, scrunched up, every which way. It was starting bid at $295 plus $2 shipping.
Currently at $18.50.
Hey, I mean, to own a Jim Brown rookie card, if you can pay under $20 for a Jim Brown rookie card, who cares what it looks like?
You could always go get another one. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Somebody really loved that card.
Right.
I've got a 54 Hank Aaron that has no back and it has no corner. So it's just kind of like 75% of the front. But it's a Hank Aaron rookie card.
Yeah. You should see my 71, the first 71 Munson I owned was not much better shape than that Jimmy Brown is. I got it for $5, but I was like, I can always upgrade. But guess what? I have one.
Card has some writing on front. Back is clean.
I love it.
As an A's fan, if you gave me a Reggie Jackson, if you gave me a Ricky, I got a Ricky Henderson that was burnt.
So hot, it was on fire.
It was. It's nasty. I don't even want to take a picture of it because I think it'll crumble. But it's one of those things like, hey, I've got an old tobacco card that was really Eddie Collins, really frail. I put it in a binder and it will not come out of that binder because I don't trust myself to touch it again.
Yeah.
And dude, that's a beautiful card. Imagine the stories.
Well, that card could tell.
You know, our friend Suze did the card chat this afternoon, and she's like, you know, what's your favorite part about collecting vintage? It was one of the questions, and I was like, you know, think about this. What that card lived through. You know, I mentioned in my answer, you know, owning a T206, 111 years old. How many wars did it live through? The Great Depression, natural disasters, right? It lived through all of that, and now it lives in my house. Think about that Jim Brown. Who wrote on that? Obviously, it was the same person. How did it get all those? You know, was it in a bicycle spoke?
Somebody crunch it with their hand. I mean, or was there a fight with the two brothers and they ripped the card? You know, who knows?
You don't know.
Tacked on to the photo albums, or it's one of the things that, you know, when I pick up vintage cards, like Ben was saying, I love to think about where they've actually been and what they've done and what they've seen, or if they're just set in a box forever.
Yeah, I got an old 67 or 68 where the kid, you know, eliminated the name, the California Angels, took off the Angels and put Reds because the guy got traded and he made his own traded card. Hey, this guy's not an Angel anymore. He's a Cincinnati Red. I'm going to fix it. And it's like,
and I've seen a, 67 Jose Pagan. The name it came off, so someone taped on Hank Aaron to it.
Yeah,
not quite. Not quite.
But like Once a Cup, Ben's house, just the latest natural disaster.
No, that's behind me, but that's another story.
No, I just thought it was super cool.
He has me mixed up with Bo's closet.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Yeah, if that was my kind of collection, I would be all over that.
Yeah. No, John in the chat says, and by the way, John's calling us the three wise men, so I think we need to check on John and make sure how stable he is. But I know you guys are primarily baseball. Do you guys break new product for yourself? And if so, what do you go to? I mostly open baseball product. I've opened a little hockey, and I did some Prism basketball this year. Ben doesn't do much, if anything, maybe a pack or two, or really a random blaster every so often. I know Steph loves Diamond Kings, and that's coming out soon. And he does series. He's opened some baseball, some Top Series 1 this year. For whatever reason, keeps opening update, even though I've tried to help him finish his set forever.
So about that,
you pulled the card, didn't you? You son of a! I'm gonna kick Steph off the show.
I bought 4 fat packs today, and there was totally the
Jake Bowers.
But Jake Bowers.
Yeah, well, he should be at your house tomorrow again too. Awesome. With 5 pounds of penny sleeves.
Now this is I showed off the Pujols and the Bonds, but this is a spotlight for another day. So you got the all-time home run hitter, the guy before him, the guy before him, the cheater in chief, Pujols, Griffey, Mays got skipped up, Jimmy Fox, my most recent pickup,
Nice.
Hey, I just picked up some Jimmy Foxes.
the initial rookie home run hitters cut auto,
Wally Burger.
Sammy Sosa with pinstripe,
Nice.
and I've got a Judge auto somewhere.
Yeah,
Got a little miniature all-time home run hitters collection going on.
I like that. That's awesome. See, I like little collection. Like I have one of mine that I have that's kind of odd. Number 1 NFL draft pick rookie cards. I have them all.
Very nice.
So,
Well, see, I remember
right
we
from the
talked about
merger. Yeah, right from the merger. Even they go tops to 15, and at 16 they're the rated rookie Donruss.
Very nice. Do you have what's his boy? Guy who just won the World Super Bowl.
Mahomes.
Mahomes. Yes.
Yeah, but he wasn't the number 1 overall pick. But I do
Yeah,
have a rated rookie Mahomes.
Number 1 overall picks. You got to brush up on your NFL draft knowledge.
I don't football. My Vikings have disappointed enough.
Yeah. So guest service, Target off limits with Optic. So Target's limiting your Optic. So at HaloKlein_GG on Twitter, tweeted out 2019-20 Optic Mega Box is located at posted a photo. And it says 2019-20 Optic Mega Box is located at guest service desk. Purchases are limited to 1 of each box per guest and 5 booster packs per guest. Thank you, Target. Now, note, I looked to see where this gentleman's from. He is from Seattle, Washington, the Seattle, Washington area. I've not seen this at my Target, any of the 2 Targets I frequented since I've seen this.
I've yet to see it either.
And very interesting. I saw Ivan said today that there seemed to be a second wave coming of Optic because he tweeted out some pictures of rack packs or the blister pack, whatever you want to call them, the mega packs or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And see, it's interesting because if he's from he is from the Seattle area. I would wonder. Let me just correct that real quick. I swore I was following him. I would wonder because my company being in the Seattle area, if that's not people that are buying it up, ripping it immediately, and sending it in.
Is it James?
Or if it's
I
James.
talked to James and I asked him, and he goes, "I bought too much Optic." He sounded like a kid on Thanksgiving when we were going back. We were doing some DMs this week, and it sounded like his DM back to me sounded like a kid on Thanksgiving. Like, I had too much turkey and pie. I don't know what's going to happen now.
So, have you guys ever seen Euro Trip?
Yeah.
Scotty, after the night where he drinks, he's like, "I'm never drinking again." Probably about what James feels like with Optic in prison.
Yeah. Dude overdid it. But I just thought it was interesting. I don't think Target should limit it, but whatever. Doug A, I do have Entman's Topps rookie. What a fumble the Colts did. Then Entman and Coriat back to back, 1 and 2.
Well, and so to that, I don't necessarily agree with them limiting the amount available, but with a future thing that we're about to cover, as well for a future reason for what we're about to cover, as well as making sure nobody breaks it and replaces it with 1990 hoops.
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah. And then
for a major release.
Real quick, as we before we go, Rich Frank just killing it tonight. Y'all here, Puig can't get a job. Think of all the cash that people wasted on him with the Dodgers in 13.
Yep, it's all cyclical. There'll be another one, and if this
Some
juice
of these guys turn out. I mean, think of all the people money wasted on Trevor Story.
No, look at last year, right? Alvarez, Aquino, these guys. Come on, you're telling me all these guys are going to pan out? And again, we're not, as a hobby, we're not paying dollar box prices. We're paying non-established, overpriced products. For every Luka that you find that you're paying $400 for, and it turns into a $2,500 card, you're going to be paying, $100 for a short print of one of these guys that's going to end up turning into a $5 card in a couple of years. like I said all along, man, this is just my philosophy. I would rather overpay for an established quantity 3 years from now when I know that what the guy had become than to pay prospect pricing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, and
Obviously, that's a team card, but I'm not
Yeah,
going to pay that.
The gold 2020s, I'm looking at these. I'm seeing these sell on the secondary market, and people are like $80 for a Bo Bichette numbered out of 2020. It's like, who the hell's buying them at these prices? Come on,
Dante.
there are people.
I know that's the problem.
I mean, I one is somebody that's opening it and selling some of it. I like it. That's fun for me because then I can take it and I can get the stuff that I want. It's, we talk about, it's a whole different subject, and I think we could have a bigger show on prospecting. But I don't mind, and I talked to Steph about this the other day on I think I talked about this on the show. I took like $100 a month ago, and I went on ComC, and I was buying first Bowman Chromes of certain guys, right? Now, some of them are well established as like, hey, they're going to be up this year, and I might have paid $2 or $3 for that card.
Sorry, someone had asked.
A couple years ago for $1, and so I feel more comfortable in doing that than say, hey, like paying like, the guy that like you remember Nolan Gorman? We talked about him.
Mm-hmm.
Like what was that 2018 that summer, right? Like he had cards for like $25,000. Well, you look at the prospect list on there, and he's like in the middle part of the list, and you're like, oh well. You would think that if everybody thought he was so badass that he'd be a top 5 prospect, and he's just not there. Anyway, whole different day. We got a lot because we have the industry conference to talk about coming up. But there was an interesting poll this week: how to ship card polls. I had card polls on Twitter. What is your preferred method of safely shipping cards? There were 348 votes. The 3 options were team bag only, painter's tape, Scotch tape / packing tape. Scotch tape plus packing tape is the bane of my existence, and that only got 11%. Team bag only got 41.7, and painter's tape won with 47.1. Now, I see Steph voted for painter's tape. I honestly don't have a problem with painter's tape, as long as it's across just like the top of it. Right. I don't want the full top loader to be blue or green. Because somebody used half a roll of tape to tape the one card up.
Right.
I did post, if you do buy, you can buy team bags on eBay, 100 team bags for $4 shipped.
I like both.
That's 4 cents a piece. If you buy a roll of tape at Home Depot, of blue painter's tape, it was $6.18.
I actually timed myself. I got 4 cards today, 3 of which came with blue painter's tape in various, one across the top, one it was kind of around 4 different sides because had 2 top loaders used as a brace. And I turned on the clock and I was like, all right, let me go in. How quick can I safely get into these just by peeling the painter's tape off? 3 cards took me 2 minutes and 46 seconds. I hate blue painter's tape. If you can't take a team bag and a dummy board or a piece of cardboard cut to size, stick your card inside a top loader, stick your top loader, the dummy board, close it with a team bag, you're doing it wrong. Somebody mentioned on Twitter, they're like, if you get that, the top loader, the dummy board, and the team bag, if I receive that, he goes, I know that person's an expert. I know that person's experienced. Blue painter's tape reeks of I'm doing this lazy because blue painter's tape's easy to peel off. Come on, man. Leave the blue painter's tape at home, man. It's more expensive than team bags. People that are like, well, what if you don't have an LCS? Man, you can buy them online for cheaper than you can at 30% markup at your LCS.
Yeah. Real quick, so I got this from one of my buddies that lives in Kansas City. He's an ace collector. He sent me this, and he says, you like tape? And he put it's a Bubba Starling. It was the 97 Throwback Thursdays or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he bought it because there was an A in there. But he bought the set, and he got the Bubba. He sent it to me. He's like, dude, you're awesome. But he put this big thing of tape, and like, you like tape? Because he knows how much I hate the tape. By the way, dude is awesome because he always goes to KU games and sends me photos. But also, too, all the Royals, stadium sets that they give away, he's gone to those games and then just sends them to me.
Very nice.
So also, Bubba Starling, monster home run today.
Yeah.
That kid's going to have a future in this.
That grandpa is going to be quite amazing. So anyway, no, it's a fun conversation. Like honestly, if you use one piece of painter's tape, like legit, I'm okay with it. It's just when it comes like smothered in it, I don't need it. So
Well,
What
and
piece
that's
of
what I was
art
going to
across
say.
the
You
top?
know, I got my package from Crack and Wax today from his Series 1 break. And the cards all came in a team bag, and it was braced, but for lack of a better word, braced by a small piece of cardboard on both sides with a painter tape, tiny painter's tape across the top and across the bottom. Perfect.
that's all you need. And once again, what I'm talking about is the guys that are covering the top loader in tape. Like that's a ton of tape. We're not talking about the guy running the slight piece or what Crack and Wax did.
Yeah, I mean, Matt says you can get 150 pieces out of a roll of plumber's painter's tape. Good. If you do that, I'm fine. I'll peel it off real quick. In fact, one of the three came off relatively quick. It was the other two where it's like on all different sizes.
Mm.
My wife yells
They
at me.
did this.
Every year. She's like, dude, seriously? You wrap Christmas presents with so much Scotch tape. A whole roll takes me, 3 presents. And even like Pam Beasley on The Office tells Roy, if you're using more than 3 pieces, you're doing it wrong.
Like I said, hey, if you're not using trading card database, you're doing it wrong. So
Yeah,
Especially when trying to determine what year's Bowman is what.
if you're closing up a top loader with just one little piece over the top, which is plenty to secure it, okay. But it's the people that are being knuckleheads.
Well, even if you go long ways, so the whole piece of the top loader is covered. I'm
Fair
fine
enough.
with that. Just make sure.
Fair
You put
enough.
hey, real quick, just make sure that you put it in a penny sleeve. Also, my Jack Hughes that I bought Young Guns came PWE. So like I had like a $40 plus card come PWE to me. Now it was said free shipping, but it said nowhere in the listing that it was going to be PWE, and it came 3 days later than expected. And I reached out to the guy on the second day that it was late, and he said, "Hey, yeah, I marked it as shipped, but I didn't get out to the post office for a couple days, whatever." And I said, "Okay." I could have been a guy and said, "Hey, I never got the card."
Yeah.
If you sell a card for like, I would say like over $10, should not be PWE.
Not unless it's agreed upon.
No, not unless it's agreed upon. Yes.
Right.
Or like if I'm sending Steph a card or whatever. But usually when I send Steph cards, it's a package, like it's a bundle. Like I sent him 5 pounds of penny sleeves on Tuesday.
I needed 100.
I was negotiating a card. It was a McGuire parallel from 2020, and I spent $17. And I was like, hey, let's do this PWE because it was already way more than I wanted to spend for that particular card. But it was a fluid conversation between the two of us. I was like, can you ship it safely? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. And it arrived just fine. But again, it was a fluid conversation.
Oh, yeah,
it was agreed upon beforehand.
Yeah.
If it's just a general rule and you're listing all your stuff on eBay, I think $10 is pushing it. 7 or 8 is probably on the high end.
I mean, that's where I would say. I mean, I usually don't on that stuff. So, real quick, I just got a new product in 8x10 soft sleeves. I got 4x6 and 8 and 5x7s on the way, so all my oversized cards are now gonna be nicely protected. So I'm gonna penny sleeve them and then into the top loader. I'm very excited. I'm just a big geek.
Oh,
All right.
we'll put those.
I hope you guys are ready.
Hit me up after the show. I got a sleeve. I want you to look to see if you guys if it's even still made.
All right. And by the way, if you ever guys have questions on supplies or stuff, hit me up. I'll give you the insight. 2020 Topps Industry Conference happened this past weekend and early this week. At Sports Card News was there. He was live tweeting and live blogging during the event. So a lot of this information comes directly from his tweets and the live blog that they did. And Ryan did a great job. He got to meet Joe Adele and Chris Bryant was there. But this year the conference was reported as being completely sold out. Topps announced they're going to be the exclusive trading card partner of Major League Baseball through 2025. Which I'm okay with because it keeps things like I've heard Fanatics has really tried to push, and I don't think a T-shirt manufacturer or reseller needs to be in the. But anyway, there was a number of direct MVP direct accounts, which that are hobby shops that can buy directly from Topps, has gone up. So in 2020 or 2012, there were 250. In 2016, there were only 220, so it dropped by 30 over 4 years. In 2020, this year, there's 275, and with a wait list. This is a very exclusive club to be in, because you get the product. You don't have to go through a manufacturer. You order directly with Topps. You have a Topps person. They take care of you. Some shop owners that have those direct accounts with Topps are frustrated that they are required to buy a minimum number of products, but the group breakers are not.
That's interesting.
So the manufacturer's making the brick and mortar buy more than their buddies online. Now, some breakers are both, but that was a big point there. The new Topps brand manager, Aaron Abrams, used to work at Upper Deck. Despite a booming sports card market, Topps was worried at the start of 2019 when Series 1 baseball did not sell as anticipated. 2020 has started off much better according to the Topps GM, David Liner. Which is interesting because you can still find Series 1 2019, so I wonder how much they actually made, which scares me now because 2020 Topps Series 1 saw about a 10% increase in production over Series 1 of 2019. Now, Topps does it where you have to pre-order so far in advance, and they kind of print to request on their products, like Flagship and Heritage. So they take the pre-orders, like you're pre-ordering Series 1, like in, when was that? Like September or October of last year. And it doesn't come out till February. So they find out what the demand is as far as pre-orders, and they print accordingly. So if the demand goes down, they print less. Demand goes up, they're going to print some more.
They've always been print to order.
Yeah. So.
And, mind you, this is Topps specifically, but some of the others have done that in the past where, well, to get these products, you have to buy country music.
Yeah.
Or, some of the lesser products so that those actually sell through.
Yeah. Well, in the grocery industry, when we all complain about the fact that certain grocery stores and certain retailers have Valentine's Day at Christmas time, they're all competing with Walmart, and Walmart gets these prices so low that all of the other department stores, retailers, grocery stores, when they want to go get their Valentine's Day candy, for instance, they've got to buy it so early to lock in lower prices to increase their gross margins. The problem is I have this now. I have a finite amount of room in my back room, and I need to start selling it to get rid of it because I'm going to get stuck with a certain percentage on the back end, and I'm going to have to discount it at a loss that they got to start putting it out there on December 26th. It's just the nature of the beast when it's the cyclical way that unfortunately it happens with buying stuff.
The idea to put box toppers in jumbo products came from a dealer. So I like that they're listening to people that are actually selling product, because that's been pretty cool since update of last year. The jumbo boxes had a box topper. Luis Robert will be in Series 2. They'll look for Series 2 to be just stupid, especially if he does anything. I mean, the other day I heard he hit a triple and people were freaking out because of his speed, and I guess the dude just rocked. If you saw some previews of the new Topps Chrome basketball, the GM said that product does not exist anymore. So interesting. What happened there? If you buy Scott's Miracle Grow, there's a chance you'll find Topps baseball cards in it someday.
Why though?
I don't know.
In Miracle Grow.
Yeah. Okay.
We can't get them in cereal anymore, but we can get them in Miracle Grow.
It just says someday.
Or
I don't
pizza.
know what that. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that
or
was
the
awesome with the Walmart
the
pizza.
marketplace. Yeah, the marketplace cards were they were insert style stock crap, but it was kind of fun. I mean, I wish they were stocked a little bit better because you could open those pizzas up and steal them. And so you had to be
Why are you
extremely
stealing
careful.
cards? You fondle
I wasn't-
pizzas
Pack
and cards?
pervert.
Pack
I
pervert.
wasn't doing it.
Pizza pervert.
But I think Steph was the one that alerted me, and because I went there to buy one to see if I could pull the Sunny Gray, and I had to open up the pizza to make sure the pack was in there because maybe I'll buy something else, and if you're gonna buy one, but it was that easy. All you had to do was open it up and pull it out. So they would need to redesign that, but
Tops said this. We probably don't get crazy. We don't get as crazy with the different versions of parallels cards like Panini does.
Yet he said yet.
No, it says we probably don't get as crazy with different variation
Oh,
of parallel cards like Panini does.
He said yet when it came to the other line about the junk wax era. I don't know if you're going to mention that or not.
No, I didn't. I skipped that because it made my heart hurt.
Yeah.
MLS renewed with Topps after speaking with other card companies in what was described as a rocky process. The first 2020 Topps MLS product is coming out this summer. The entire product development team collects.
They didn't say what.
No, but they do collect, so I'm assuming cards of some kind. Topps is looking to launch a new case break event at the National in 2020, similar to the Million Card Rip Party.
Interesting. Kind of expected that.
Chrome comes out then, right?
Thereabouts, yeah. June, July.
Topps National Baseball Card Day will be August 8th, so 8/8, the anniversary of Wrigley going to lights.
8/8/20.
Yes. National Baseball Card Day will be 3 weekends in a row this year. So I don't know exactly what that's entailing, but we'll definitely have that. The shop owner, Indy Card Exchange, has over 600 active Kid Club members, and over 150 have signed up this year alone. So we're 60 days into the year, and he's had 150 kids sign up already. That's over 2 kids a day.
It's a good program.
Yeah, must be doing something right. Guys, find out what he's doing. We're going to find out what he's doing. Let's talk about it. The Veneer media presentation, which is Gary V's company. Vanner media presentation ended with a video message from Gary V encouraging the group to use Instagram ads. That's where the youth lives. I hate it.
I mean, I guess.
So maybe that's what it is, because I'm old and I hate Instagram. So maybe that he's right there.
It's one of those things. If you hate Facebook, as far as cards go,
it's the dumbest people on earth.
So
then Instagram is a lower IQ level than Facebook.
So I know we're on Facebook probably now, but that just it.
So to that point, Tim, run the ad.
What's that?
Run the video.
Oh, we got to come up with a nickname of that somewhere here.
Ben's one of those guys who definitely has a lot of dumb in him, but he's a good guy. It's a constant battle between good Ben and dumb Ben.
So we were talking at work today that the good Ben seems to be on Facebook because you're a whole lot less
confrontational,
antagonistic. Per se.
There you go.
Whereas Twitter is the dumb Ben. You just shoot off ideas left and right.
The Twitter is the smart, wise Ben. Facebook is the one that doesn't get into it with those idiots who have a collective IQ of 8.
On Monday, Topps gave away a box of 2020 Topps Heritage, and the product hadn't come out yet. So they were letting them. That's pretty cool. Hey, here's a great preview, right? That's awesome. New products coming this year. Everybody, let's get in the pool together. Let's get all dipped up. In Chrome, Topps Stadium Club Chrome updates coming. Alan Aginter Chrome hobby-only editions coming. So we're going to get all dipped in Chrome. And Topps is going to have a new one-of-one design, your own one-of-one card, and then bring it to an event to get signed by the athlete, which I think is awesome.
They've totally stolen my idea on that.
I just wish, what I'm really disappointed in is the make your own card for 2019. They never put up the design for 2019 to make your own card, because I did one in 18 for my son. I was going to do another one, and it never came. So I'm really disappointed in that. I even asked him at the National, and they said, the guy that does that's not here. Well, obviously he's been fired, so. Breakers. So these are some notes about breakers. Group breakers don't make money breaking Topps Transcendent Baseball. Sales don't equal profit. Okay. So I'm sorry, breakers. Group breakers pushing Topps to create a breaker-friendly version, friendly Topps Heritage SKU. So they want Heritage, but they don't want all the base. They just want autographs, most likely. The best tweet that he sent out the entire time was Leighton Sports Cards and Grand Slam Collectibles. We need to prevent fraud that keeps happening to breakers. aka chargebacks, yet both open products from known scammer Hero of Sport, some that featured trim cards, not the brightest bulbs in the group. And then he had a whole conversation with Fish from Blowout Cards, where Fish yelled at him and told him all this other stuff, and they went back and forth. And I thought it was a good one. And then Top said the Rock autographs are almost impossible to get into products, along with Hulk Hogan is very, very difficult. So anyway, lots of news coming out from there. But check out Ryan at Sports Card News and his brother Colin Sports Card Radio. Their site, they have a bunch of stuff. A lot, all this is on there. You can go back and recap it there. A lot of good information. And the last thing tonight, we're going to talk about abusing vendors. So,
which is the thing that I not previewed, but foreshadowed previously.
Yeah. So at random_guy43 tweeted out. These are a couple of tweets that he had in a row here. Had a chat with a friend of mine that works at Walmart discussing the stocking of cards there. From what she tells me, the distributor is hounded in the parking lot and followed around. Most product doesn't even touch a shelf, and the distributor has expressed concerns. It feels like she's being harassed for these products. To me, it's a bit shameful, but consumerism, right? And no, I don't use her to get products or have anything set aside. I go on like a normal person and take my chances. Now, I've kind of experienced this as well. So when I was on paternity leave, one Friday morning, my mother-in-law was like, "Hey, Tim, we're out of milk and eggs and some other things. Can you run over and grab them really quick?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, like Walmart's right across the street." So I ran over and I got the stuff, and I saw the guy stocking the cards. So I just walked over and I like, "Hey, what's up?" Started chatting. I'm like, "What's new?" And I grabbed a few things and we started talking. He's like, "Hey, yeah." He goes, "I love to make sure these get in the hands of people that actually want them. They're not going to steal them. And they're going to collect them or do whatever that you guys do with them." He goes, "So I'm here every Friday between like 7:30 and 8:30 to stock this stuff." And I said, "Awesome." So he's like, "Come by and see me and let me know what happens and all this." Oh, great. And so I did that a couple Fridays in a row, and when I knew stuff to see what was coming out, or especially just like clearance things. And so I'm not harassing the guy. I don't have the guy's phone number, but I've seen people like legit like follow the dude around. Or he told me about that, like following him around or just trying to get his phone number and offering him money, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I don't know. What's your feeling on this? I do think it's shameful. I think you should just go in, and if you know when they're going to be there, hang back, let them do their job, and then you go at it. Like, right?
Yeah,
Toys R Us used to limit. I went in to buy the McFarlane Cooperstown collection. I wanted one of each back when McFarlane was producing those. And they're like, "You can only buy 2 total." And I was like, "What do you mean 2 total?" And they're like, "You can buy any 2 of your choice." And I'm like, "But I want all 6." And I had all 6 in my cart. I said, "I'm only buying 1 of each for my collection. I want every one." I turned the box over and I'm like, "Look, this is the checklist." And he ended up letting me buy 1 of each. But he's like, "The reason we limit them is because we don't want people to hoard them." I was like, "You just told me, though, I could buy 2 of the same one. Therefore, if I let my wife come in and double back behind me, she could buy 2 more, so we could gobble up all the Mike Trouts." And now we're just leaving them with the one that nobody wants on the shelf. And so I know Toys R Us used to have that policy for Hot Wheels and Star Wars collectibles and other things that were highly sought after.
Sure.
Yeah, I worked as a vendor for 11 or so years, not in that distribution channel. But yeah, I mean, nobody's going to hit me up first thing in the morning for what I was selling into the store. I was selling, Hostess and things like that.
Hold on. Sometimes I can get my 2024 snacks. I want to get ahead.
That's right. People might grab fresh bread off of my rack, for instance, as opposed to buying the loaf of bread that's on the shelf. And that's fine, right? We all go for the milk that has the longer expiration date. But yeah, you don't harass these people. I mean, literally, I know you were joking about me being a socialist with my points on the Hobby Hotline last week, but not everything is a flip product. We don't need to buy everything. We certainly don't need to harass somebody doing their job when they're just trying to stock the shelf so that you could clear out, whatever it is. I mean, I understand that the tins are collectible, for instance. We went into that last week. Hobby Hotline covered it extensively this past week. But what am I going to do? Throw an elbow into the distributor because I've got to get my Vlad Guerrero tins and sell them for a double the markup, 200% markup or whatever. It's ridiculous. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, so check this out, Tim.
Oh yeah, this from Ivan. Is that the Oreo?
A 3-pack of Supreme Oreos is selling for $52,000 on eBay.
Yeah, a 3-pack of those sold for. I saw Ivan tweeted out last week for like $32,000 or $23,000. I'm sorry.
And looks
it's amazing what people will buy. I always say a fool and their money will soon be departed.
Definitely.
The old saying, and it's crazy to see stupid stuff. I mean, when Hostess went out of business, back in 2012, people were buying, 10 Twinkies in a box, $800. And I was thinking, man, the last truck that I had $7,000 in pre-markup inventory on it, right? So probably $12,000 after store markup, and then probably $150,000 in eBay markup. And that's not being facetious, right? That's being what they were selling for after Hostess. I was like, good Lord, if I had one of those trucks loaded, that'd been a gold mine. But it's like, you're really spending $80 a Twinkie? Come on.
Just leave the vendors alone. Let them do their job.
Definitely.
And then go get it. And like, if you run into some, like the vendor at iStore, he's super friendly. He's the one that started the conversation. It wasn't me. And I'm like, okay, awesome. And then go from there. Because I've had to stock stuff before in a job, and Ben talked about it, and it's like, hey, let me get my job done, and then you could go full bore and go hog heaven and buy all you want, clear the shelf. If that's what you want to do.
I think the best way to do that, if your store is going to put a halt to that, is to do it kind of what Target did, where, hey, we have these limited to 1, 2, whatever you're going to limit it to. Much like they do Diet Coke, by the way. Apparently, the some of the stuff that they put in that is going to be limited due to the flu outbreak. So get your Diet Coke now. Just what I heard on the news. But, you can't just go in and buy 3 Nintendo Switches the day of release.
Oh, yeah.
It's limited 1. You can only go buy in 1, and you can't have a buddy with you. I mean, me and Angela had to go to separate GameStops to get ours.
Well, when I was at Best Buy at one point in time, I was the media supervisor, and so I was in charge of all the gaming and movies and stuff. And I was there when Rock Band came out, the first Rock Band.
06, 07, 05, somewhere in there.
The Wii, when the Wii was released. When Xbox 360 was launched, I was working in the store, and I worked that release, and I slept outside of my own Best Buy to actually get one. And so they was all limited, and it's just like, hey, it's coming to this. I mean, it's just the world we live in, and I have to have it right now, instantly. And hell, if I have to pay a premium for it, then I'm going to do it. It's been nuts in the sports card industry. I know since collecting since 2015 or 16, if you were to go back to that point in time, it's completely different over the last 3 years. It all of like since Judge came around, his rookie year, right? It feels like, okay, we were doing like 55, miles an hour, and then that year we were doing like, okay, the speed limit then was 65. I feel like right now we're like at 105 at all times every day.
Driving down the Autobahn.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what the hell happened?
Judge is probably a good baseline. You're probably right there, because if we go back to what was Chris Bryant? Was he 16?
He was 15.
15. But see, it didn't seem like, other than, you're always going to have those guys, right?
Yeah, you're always going to have it. But it felt like after that was like.
I got back into the hobby in 10. And
Strasburg, Harper.
Yeah.
Strasburg was hot. Harper was hot.
Gordon Beckham the previous year.
Trout came along after the fact by like 13, 14. People were doubling back to get his stuff. But it never really seemed like we were caught up in the craze of right now. I mean, I looked at the Real One autos earlier. I tweeted about it. I'm like, are you kidding me? $100, $150 for who? It's like I remember when Matt Olson, had 23 home runs in 56 or 57 games at the end of 2017, and his stuff jumped 400% overnight. And I'm just like, for what? It's like, and then it came back down to earth, and I was like, that's crazy. And now it just seems like if you're a rookie, if you're a prospect, everybody's getting in because they just don't know.
Miss. Yeah, they don't
want to miss.
Yeah. Real quick as we end this, once a cup, I worked at a store when Dreamcast came out. I actually was running a Hollywood Video at the time.
What, $99.99?
And we rented them out. And back when you'd rent video game systems, and we always kept one in the store to play after hours. So I always closed, and we'd close at midnight. The store would be really cleaned up and everything by about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and we would stay and play NFL 2K with Randy Moss because he was the greatest player ever in that game for like hours until like 3 or 4 in the morning. It was amazing.
I got
all those tube TVs. Yeah,
I got a Dreamcast. If you want to come over and play, man.
I'm not even supposed
it's been
to
a
be
while.
here today.
Been a while. Guys, as we head out, any final thoughts tonight before we leave? What a wonderful show. Pro Bowler. We got to talk about heritage. We talked about, abusing vendors and Tops Conference and all kinds of fun stuff. But any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
I did have 2 show notes. One, hopefully you guys like the video. It should be here to stay. I've got a little a tripod that it's on, so let me know how it looks. If you want less of me,
we're good with everything but the face.
Like I said, if you want less of me, I can go back to my old.
No, it's nice to have you. It's nice to have your face as a part of the show.
But and then 2, there I mentioned it the previous episode where I had the Tony Fernandez auto that if any Blue Jays fans or Tony Fernandez fans for that matter wants to reach out, I feel that it should be yours more so than mine. Just hit us up, shoot us a message. Someone did reach out. I saw it middle of this week. I'm going to print the label, find the card this weekend, and I'll get it out to you early next week.
Awesome.
Nice. One last thing, man. Casey couldn't have been a nicer guy.
Absolutely could not have.
By the way,
he was extremely gracious and generous of his time, so we want to thank him first and foremost for that. But
absolutely,
he is such a nice and down to earth and just a regular guy. I mean,
good Midwestern guy. Yeah,
that's right.
If you're not following him, give him a follow because he's one of us. He really felt like he was just a collector getting back in. He's got questions, and we've all been there. Some of us, years ago. Some of us not more recently, right? And he'll find his way, and we hope we can, help or point him in the right direction. But what a good dude, man.
He already sent us a DM saying, "Hey, anytime I can fit on the show, you let me know." Okay.
And if he wants to reach out to us anytime, has a question about something, or wants to come back on, wants to cover something, by all means, hey, come on.
Yeah, but if you guys, like I said, if you're not following him, follow him, and if you see, hey, if he has questions, I feel like our listeners and our viewers are some of the best out there to help out and point somebody in the right direction. Like Ben and Steph said, we've all kind of been there. So
let's start a Twitter campaign to get Casey on a card with Panini.
Yeah,
do it.
That's our mission. Let's see if we can hit up Tracy and say, hey, this guy needs
like a Pro Bowl
card.
Set.
Yeah, and not a short print. It needs to be something that we all can collect. I think Casey, and I don't want to speak for him, but he seems like the kind of guy that would probably set up a through the mail system for anybody, just like Brad Ziegler and Pat Neshek and a couple of the other prominent athletes. I think Casey would be delighted. And again, I'm not speaking for him. It just seems like he would definitely sign if we asked, hey, we got this new Panini. And I think that would be pretty cool if we can get him on a card.
That's what we can do. We'll come up with a little campaign. Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. You can always follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. Follow me at Big Chef 79 and share your hobby stories, great pulls. Send your questions our way and keep collecting. We'll see everybody next week. And don't forget the Hobby Hotline is on this Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
And maybe look for something for us on the weekend.
Yeah. We might have something coming up, not this Sunday, the following Sunday. We're working on a big show to talk about. And then come back with us here a little after 10 Pacific, about 15, 20 minutes. and I'll be breaking a box of Heritage. And if you can't, watch a replay of it tomorrow and take a look and see what it is if you're trying to decide if you want to buy it or not. And we'll have some fun there. But until then, guys and gals, we'll see you then.